Good morning to you, friend. Welcome back to the Morning Minute Meditation. Thank you for joining us today. My interest is in the book of the Revelation. In the book of the Revelation and chapter number 6, the sealed books are being opened. The fifth seal is opened in chapter 6, verse 9 and 10. And here's what the Word of God says. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. Verse 10 says, And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? The souls of the martyrs underneath the altar cry out to Christ and say, When are you going to avenge our blood? His response to that was, As soon as the rest of the martyrs are martyred, I will avenge your blood. I have been interested recently, as you well have heard in previous devotions, about martyrdom. Fox's Book of Martyrs is a great resource. J.M. Carroll's Trail of Blood is a great resource dealing with the martyrs of the church. And when you consider it, it's an amazing thing. According to research that we have done and articles we have read, 70 million people have been martyred for the cause of Christ in the last 2 millennium. And it is interesting to note that the vast majority of those, about 35 million, a little over half, were martyred in the 20th century alone, which is indicative of the fact that the martyrdom is increasing in these last of the last days. And I do believe that we are living in the last of the last days. All of that in consideration, I ran across a story I thought you would find interesting, and may I read it for you instead of telling it to you. The story is of a young 18-year-old girl by the name of Margaret Wilson. The Scottish girl, 18, was tied to the stake where the tide was due to come in. The water covered her while she was engaged in prayer. But before life was gone, they pulled her up till she recovered the power of speech. When she was asked by Major Windram, who commanded if she would pray for the king, she replied, she wished the salvation of all men and the damnation of none. Dear Margaret, said one of the standers-by, deeply affected by watching the scene, say, God save the king, young lady. Say, God save the king. She answered with great steadfastness, God save him if he will, for it is his salvation I desire. Sir, they cried to the major, she has said it. She has said it. The major, approaching her, on hearing this, offered her the abjuration oath, charging her instantly to swear it, otherwise to return to the water. The poor young woman, Miss Margaret Wilson, firmly replied, I will not. I am one of Christ's children. Let me go. Upon which she was again thrust into the water and drowned for her faith. Here is a lady that died for the faith. I posted this, I guess it is today, on one of our social media outlets, and I think it was on the Higher Grounds podcast Facebook page. And it was a quote by Vance Havner. And here's what Vance Havner said. He said, the church has taken the cross out and put in cushions and made it comfortable to be a Christian. You see, we want comfortable Christianity. We do not want biblical Christianity. Jesus Christ himself said, he said, if you do not take up your cross and if you do not follow after me, you can't be my disciple. You can't be a disciple of Christ if there is not a desire within you and a willingness and a firmness within inside of your being to take up the cross and follow Christ in his footsteps and be conformed to the image of Christ, even in the difficulties of life. We want it easy, but Christ said for the true Christian, it would not be easy. Peter was crucified upside down. Andrew was crucified on an X cross. Bartholomew was beheaded, and there were others who were filleted and then stoned and beheaded and drugged through the streets and drug apart. And for the cause of Christ, they lived and loved and served God. Let me ask you this question in conclusion today, and I know the devotional's been lengthy. Do you have a biblical Christianity, or do you have a Christianity that has been manufactured in the Western mindset of religion that is more like this idea of how to have your best life now? Hey, consider biblical Christianity and inquisitively inquire of your own heart, do I have that? Consider these things today and have a great day.